All right, welcome back to Dynamic Scrutineering here at the Electric FSGP 2024. We finally have some teams going through the slalom this evening, so you can see that. You can check out our previous two live streams for the brake tests we had this morning and yesterday afternoon. But we have both Florida and Florida Poly, it looks like, going through brake testing. And I think that is University of Virginia out there as well. They may be going through slalom test in a minute. So if you aren't familiar with the slalom test, you see this line of cones behind me. Solar car goes and zigs and zags back between all of the cones from one end to the other, and the requirement is that they do it in under 11.5 seconds. In addition to the timing requirement, the car has to look stable as they're doing that. And so each car needs to run through this a number of times, as well as each driver from each team. So I think we will see an attempt here from Florida in just 1 second. Okay, here's our first slalom attempt on the live stream from Florida. They've been doing it for a little bit, it looks like, or maybe they are going to swap a driver. Man, every time we set up for the slalom, they decide to stop doing the slalom. But we do have Waterloo in line, so hopefully they are ready to go and will come next. So thank you for your patience, and we apologize for delaying the live stream. We're trying to do slalom instead of brakes again. But we need some of these teams to actually attempt the slalom while the camera's here. Okay, so that was a trial run from the University of Waterloo car. I think that's the first time we've seen their car in the live stream here. So that's the number 24 car from Waterloo. I think they're going to go do it at full speed here, hopefully. I think that was just to get used to the course. Just like brake test, slalom usually takes a few tries for any new drivers or new cars to get comfortable with how it goes. All right, here's a temp stream, if I'm not correct, or if I'm correct about that. So number 87 car, getting your first look at that. These narrow cars tend to have a little bit easier time with slalom because they don't have to move so far laterally. The timing is at the other end of the slalom, so I will try to get you information and results, but that might be a little bit delayed. But just from eyeballing that, I don't think that was quite fast enough. So I think they're working up to getting their drivers comfortable. And that was the number 24 University of Waterloo car. As you can see them coming down, their car is a little bit wider than the Virginia car, so you saw a little bit more body roll. So that's one thing the inspectors are also looking for, is just to make sure that under these hard turning conditions, the car performs okay. Yeah, some of the cars as they go through this will fishtail a little bit. There's a threshold where that becomes a problem, and so they're watching the performance of the car and the driver at the same time. And so here comes Virginia again. That one looked a little bit faster, so we'll see how that one goes for them. They will go each drive. Take a look and see what they're doing next. All right, while we're waiting for Waterloo to get moving, oh, well, actually, here they go. So we're going to watch another attempt from Waterloo, and then I'll give you a bit of a rundown on where teams stand on qualification today. They come through the starting gate. A little bit of fishtailing there. I don't know if you can quite hear those tire sounds from on the live stream, but hopefully you can. It's a familiar sound here on the slalom course. And we got looks like Virginia is heading back to their pit, maybe for a driver's. Driver got an all good with a couple of good runs. So in terms of qualification, Dynamics is not necessarily the last stop of 9 teams that have wrapped up all of their stations at this point. And they will for sure be on the start grid tomorrow morning. And we're going to see how many more teams get through tonight. So right now our starting grid for tomorrow morning, we have ETS in position 1, Dalhousie University in position 2, App State in 3, the University of Florida in 4, Illinois State in 5, University of Michigan in 6, Poly Montreal in 7, and then I have recently heard that both Principia College and Iowa State are going to be on there. I do not know which order right now. All right, and there's another run from the University of Waterloo. And we got a few more teams heading back out here. I see MIT rolling their car back out here, so maybe we'll see them on the slalom course. We've got Virginia Tech, Cal Sol, and Western Michigan who need to go through the figure 8, and then we might see them as well here on the slalom course. All right, here comes Waterloo again. All right, so another run from the University of Waterloo there. A little bit dicey at the end. They managed to get through the course, but the staff are also watching for driver control during it, so they're probably going to ask the driver to go again and make sure they can keep it a little bit cleaner the whole way. So it's not just time; it's also their ability to keep the car in control and the ability for the car to stay in control during that. So sometimes it's not necessarily the driver's fault if the car is just not good, but we've seen this car do some better runs, so I think the driver will just have to try one more time, try a few more times probably. So that was another temp from the University of Waterloo. A little bit more stable at the end there, but perhaps still a little bit of work to do. For those of you wondering how fast they have to go, so the requirement is 11.5 seconds, and the course is 126 meters long, so that works out to just about 24.5 miles per hour average speed over the whole course. Some drivers have different strategies for this. Some of them like to enter faster and slow down as they go. Some of them like to maintain speed, or some of them will even accelerate out at the end. All kind of depends on their personal feel and how the car handles. But average speed over the entire course has to be at least 24.5 miles an hour. If you want to get a good clear pass, you probably are up above 25. So it looks like Waterloo is coming around again. I think that was a slower practice attempt there, just to get some practice in. One of the tricks, especially when you're a narrow car here, is staying as close to the cones as possible, so you're not moving laterally as far. And so drivers take a little bit of practice and make sure they know where the edges of their vehicles are. If they don't have a ton of experience, they may not be exactly sure where that is. They'll also be, watching the cones. On this car, Waterloo drivers should have pretty good vision of the cones the whole way. Shouldn't have any blind spots down to the cones. You should be able to see the whole height. Some of the other cars, especially the multi-occupant cars where the driver's far to one side, the other side can be a challenge to stay close without hitting the cone. If you hit the cone, it is a fail. So they'll be working on making sure they stay as close to the cone as possible to minimize the need for lateral movement while not hitting the cones. And showing that you can stay close to the cones without hitting them also demonstrates your control and understanding of the car, and that you know where all your edges are, and you know the car well, is something we're also looking here at Dynamics. So it looks like they're heading into their tent. Maybe they're swapping out a driver to try with a different driver. We will let you know what we find out. You may have heard some grinding in the background. It appears to be Calsol doing some sort of modification here at the figure eight. At the figure eight, the big thing we listen for is rubbing on the car. You don't want tires rubbing on bodywork or anything like that. That can lead to a bit of a bad situation if your car is rubbing on your tires. You get flat tires a lot more quickly. So they're doing some work to get their car through the figure eight. I believe Virginia Tech has finished figure eight, so they may be coming out here in a moment. We will let you know. So right now at Dynamics, we have a number of teams out here. I'm not quite sure when we'll see all of them on the slalom course. It looks like Virginia Tech is getting ready. We just saw Virginia and Waterloo out there. Both of them have pulled in, as well as Florida Poly, and so perhaps they're doing a driver swap, and we'll see them back out shortly. So those are the teams we've seen in the past half hour. We have MIT here. They just pulled in from their garage out to the Dynamics pad. So we may see them out here soon. They look like they're getting a few things put together. They got to get drivers in the car. They have to get ballast in the car. Car needs to be at full weight basically for all of these tests. So it might be a little bit before they get ready. We have Western Michigan coming over to the figure eight. If their figure eight goes pretty quickly, then we might see them on the slalom after that. We should see them. They seem to be making some improvement or change to their car in order to get a pass on the figure eight. So I don't know how long that will take, but those are the teams we are the closest to seeing out here at the moment. If nobody gets on the slalom, we might move the camera over here and show you the figure eight instead. Okay, I think we're gonna move the camera here, so we might be, screen might go blank for just a second. We're gonna move over and show you the figure eight. Western Michigan is going to be attempting the figure eight. Okay, so I apologize for looking straight into the sun here, but we got a bit of a immobile setup here with our internet access out here. So this is what we're gonna have. So you see the Western Michigan car number 786 there, following their team leader around. So they're gonna do a walkthrough of the course. And then what's going to happen is they're going to slowly speed up as they each lap go just a little bit faster. The staff will be listening to how their car sounds. At any point anything sounds concerning, they'll be told to stop, and we'll try to figure out what that is. Otherwise, if they get up to the point where they're doing 8 seconds per side and 16 seconds per full figure eight, that will be considered a pass. And this test only has to happen with one driver. This is more a test of the car, whereas the slalom and the figure eight are a test of both the car and the driver. So they're going to keep walking through this, and then at some point they'll start going more faster than walking speed here to get up to the required time. This is actually a requirement that has recently increased. A lot of these dynamic tests have been relatively similar for a while, but this test in the last year has gone from, since the last American Solar Challenge, has gone from 9 seconds per side to 8 seconds per side. So I cut off 2 seconds from the full loop requirement. Part of the reason for that is that the narrow cars have become a lot more popular again, and so dynamic stability while turning has become a lot more of a concern for these cars. So here they go without the person walking, starting to speed up a little bit. So you're going to see Florida Poly car pass in front here. I believe they may be done with dynamics. I will try and find out for you, but I think I heard that they only had one driver left for each slalom and braking, and they had just done that as we started the live stream. Okay, so I'm not sure that was quite a pass. It sounds like they have something to take a look at here. So I think we're going to switch back over to the slalom. We got Virginia Tech doing slalom runs now. All right, so that is the number 21 car, Virginia Tech. I believe that is the first time you'll have seen them on one of our live streams. So that's what the Virginia Tech car looks like. That is another slalom run from them. I saw some clapping in the distance, so I'm going to assume that's a pass. They did one run while we were watching figure eight, so if that's 2 passes for the same driver, they may move on to the next driver. So I see another team behind the camera doing the U-turn test, which is the first step at the dynamic station. It appears to be Purdue is out here. So we will hopefully see them get through the U-turn pretty quick, and then if they can do the figure eight pretty quick, they'll be out here on slalom or brakes as well. Berkeley and Western Michigan are still working on their cars to get through figure eight. So they got something to fix to get through the figure eight nicely. I believe the University of Stanford team is also just off before heading out to Dynamics, so we might see them tonight as well. Depends on how quickly they can get out here. Okay, here comes Virginia Tech with another attempt here. Going quite fast on this one, so I think they had a new driver in for that last attempt you saw, and seems to have gained some confidence from that first attempt. And I'm pretty confident without seeing the time that was a pass, at least on the time part, but they'll make those determinations down at the tent at the far end. I see Berkeley seems to have resolved their issue on the figure eight. And resolved the issue on their car and are going back to the figure eight. Sounds like they just had some minor rubbing to resolve, and they seem pretty confident they've got that fixed, and they should finish the figure eight, in which case they'll be good to come to the slalom. Based on the cheering down at the far end, I think that was a pass for that driver on the slalom for Virginia Tech. So I just saw a driver swap from Virginia Tech in the distance, so I think they're going to come back at the slalom with a new driver. So you'll see the first attempt from another driver. We'll see if they can keep up with the previous driver who did that last attempt pretty fast. I see Purdue has just wrapped up their U-turn test, so they'll be moving on to the figure eight alongside Berkeley is getting ready to do the figure eight as well. So if either of them can pass, we'll see them out here in just a minute. So that is the Waterloo car making their way back out, just passed right in front of the camera. I believe they will also be going to slalom. Just watching to see where they line up here. Okay, so it looks like we're waiting for a Virginia Tech driver swap to finish up, and then we'll see them and Waterloo. If you're looking for more videos of Dynamics, we have posted lots of clips of Dynamics and pictures throughout the day to both our Facebook page and our Instagram page. You can find us at American Solar Challenge on both platforms. So there's some short videos of various tests as well as lots of pictures. So make sure you're following us there for even more content, and maybe a little bit denser content than we have right here as we're waiting for teams to get ready. So here comes Waterloo, and I believe I heard that Stanford is cleared to attempt dynamic scrutineering. So we may see them head out here in a second. I believe that's a first attempt for a new driver from Waterloo. So we will see. I think that was a little bit slow, but they'll work up to it just like all the other drivers. Okay, you're going to see the MIT car pass in front of the camera here. Let's watch and see where they go. We might see them on Slalom, and you'll get your first view of an MOV team on Slalom. It does appear they're heading for Slalom. So the Slalom test, when MOVs were introduced, the Slalom test did not change for MOV, same requirement. With a taller car, much heavier car, tends to be a bit of a challenge for some of the MOVs. You can see some fishtailing sometimes from them. I think you might be able to see that in some of the videos on Instagram. Here comes Waterloo again. It looks like Florida Poly's got their next driver in, so I think we'll see them next, and then we will see MIT. And Calsol seems to be doing the figure eight pretty close to full speed here. All right, there's another attempt from Waterloo, and I see Virginia Tech on the move. We will see if they are heading to attempt or if they're heading back to their garage. Looks like they may be heading back to their garage. So I'm not sure if they got through all their drivers or they need to get something set before getting on to the next driver. So I guess we'll see MIT next as soon as all the people walking across the slalom course get off the slalom course so that the car can run. All right, passing in front of the camera is Berkeley car. It's your first look at the Berkeley car here. They have just attempted the figure eight, and I will see where they're heading next. I'm not sure if they passed or not. I'll try and find out for you. And as soon as they get off, I think we will see MIT. Okay, in case you can't tell, this is actually the Waterloo car again. MIT's car is waiting in line. I'm sure we'll see them momentarily. Okay, while we wait for the next car to get ready, if you haven't seen it yet, on our YouTube channel we have a live stream scheduled tomorrow for 9:45 a.m. and that will be the start of the electric Formula Sun Grand Prix 2024. So the first cars will roll off the starting grid at 10 a.m. So we'll get started on the live stream at 9:45, go over the starting grid and get you into the action before the cars actually take off. And we will stay live on our YouTube channel for the first few laps. I'm not sure how long, depends on how fast the laps are going, how many teams are out there. But you can watch all day on our website. The National Corvette Museum Motorsports Park here has live streams every day of the front straight. So we will get you that view all day long on all 3 days. Another practice attempt from Waterloo. So they will just get in a feel for it and they'll come back and try it a little bit faster once they got their confidence to do it a little bit faster. You may be able to see in the distance there, looks like MIT is pushing their car off the course, so it looks like they must have encountered some issue. So they're heading back over to their tent. Hopefully they resolve it soon and we can see them on the course here. I can see that Purdue is about to do the figure eight and Western Michigan is back in line to attempt the figure eight again. So hopefully we get one of them through and we'll see them out here on the slalom as well. Actually, since we have Purdue and Western Michigan in line for the figure eight, we are going to switch over to showing you the figure eight. So give us 1 second after this Waterloo run and we will switch over to that. Okay, I tried to get a little bit better angle here. We're not looking straight into the setting sun in the west. So Purdue's driver's been given the orientation walk around the course, and now they're slowly speeding up. You can see the safety vest and the blue polo shirt in the middle. It's one of our inspectors on the staff who is both timing and listening to the car. At this speed, mostly just listening. Once they get closer, we'll start seeing if when they're going fast enough. But first they gotta successfully drive the figure eight and sound good doing it at low speeds. And so I think she's just telling them they can go ahead and speed up a little bit. They sound good so far. And so they got to get to 8 seconds per side, 16 seconds requirement, and it has to be less than 8 on each side in order to get a pass. Seem to be going slower now, so we'll see what's going on here. But I think they're going to try and get going faster and meet the 16 seconds. Okay, Purdue has pulled off the figure eight course. It sounds like the issue is not with their figure eight, but a different issue with their car that's preventing them from reaching the required speeds. So hopefully they can sort that out soon and they can be back right over here. We got Western Michigan and Cal Sol just off screen to the right getting their cars put together to get on the figure eight, and we have MIT in the distance getting their car ready for slalom. So hopefully we get them out here shortly and we can show you some of that. And hopefully a few other teams get cleared to get out here. I've got one more team that seems to have made it out to the Dynamics pad. Team number 406, Montana State, is at the U-turn. So if they pass the U-turn, we'll see them here on the figure eight. Calsol seems to be taking their car back to their garage, so it seems like they have a little bit more to work on to pass the figure eight. Waterloo's still out here working on the slalom, so we might switch you to that. Just waiting to see if Western Michigan goes on the figure eight here. Okay, looks like we're actually going to see Purdue again. They should be rolling onto your screen momentarily, and that will be for the figure eight. Back at Slalom, Waterloo has just got a pass for another one of their drivers. I'm not sure how many more drivers they have to attempt, but it looks like they're going to go for another run in a minute here. So we will get back to that in a moment. Hopefully we get Purdue through the figure eight, and then we'll get to see them on the slalom as well. All right, so off camera just a moment ago, Waterloo got their, seems like their last driver through slalom. So that is a pass for them. And they will, I think, move on to brakes. I think they haven't done brakes, so they may switch to running brakes here. Purdue, here we go on the figure eight. We did have a question a few minutes ago about how long scrutineering will be open. We're going to continue to be open tonight as long as there are teams here and there's sun out. And there will be scrutineering hours for dynamics tomorrow as well. Once the cleared cars make it on the track, there will be some hours for the remaining teams to try and get through tomorrow. But at this time, that will be their last chance in terms of the schedule right now. So we got a lot of teams who are partially through. If Waterloo just finished the slalom and they are ready for brakes, they may switch to brakes to try and let Waterloo get all the way through today and get on the track. Just a bit of a balance here as the space limits the ability to do both slalom and braking at the same time. So here goes. Purdue has stopped. Looks like getting a bit of an explanation on what they actually want to see from the car, and then they hopefully will resume again here. It sounds like we're going to have another car out here for the U-turn test in a minute. That will be the University of Wisconsin-Madison. My understanding is they actually passed one direction earlier, and so they're coming back to try and pass the other direction. And should they do that, we should see them on the figure eight right after that. Okay, here goes Purdue again. Hopefully they're able to get up to the required speed, and they can be done with the figure eight. Yeah, it sounds like Purdue's driver's getting told to speed up a little bit more. Or we'll see what they're doing here. Perhaps they actually passed on that last run. So, looks like they're getting a signature there. Very quiet car, so that's usually a good thing for the figure eight. So hopefully that means they're going to go out to the slalom and we can switch over to watching that. We will keep you up to date. I think Western Michigan will be getting on the figure eight here in just a moment as well. So hopefully they also pass, and then we'll have multiple teams out there to watch. Okay, so you just saw the MIT car pass in front of you. They appear to be heading back to the garage, so a little bit more work to do before they get on the slalom course. They did finish the figure eight, I believe, earlier today or yesterday, so they're just waiting on slalom and U-turn. Now we have the 786 car from Western Michigan University doing the figure eight. So they're starting out here slowly, listening to the car, making sure it sounds good, and they'll get the instruction to slowly speed up every couple laps until they get to the 8-second per side requirement. Okay, we're going to switch back to the slalom testing, where we have a couple of teams lined up for that. So Western Michigan's going to continue to try and get past the figure eight, and we'll hopefully see them on slalom. So camera will be off for just a moment, and then you will see the slalom. Okay, so we're back with slalom, and here is the Waterloo car. They have another driver to go through, and then we should see the Purdue car next. I believe Waterloo is taking this driver through slowly, just to get a feel for the course and how close they can actually drive to the cones. And so once they're comfortable with that, we'll see them go at speed with the next driver. Okay, so Wisconsin is out here on the dynamics pad, behind the camera, off camera, here for the U-turn. So we got another team out here tonight. Okay, we're going to see Waterloo again, and I now see the Purdue car getting in position to go next. So we'll see their first run, first attempt of the car, and the driver after that. Okay, you can see at the far end, another narrow light-colored car there is Purdue, similar style of car to the Waterloo car I've been watching. So they're getting a bit of a tutorial This is actually the first time Purdue has been back at Formula Sun Grand Prix or American Solar Challenge since, I believe, 2003. So a lot of new things here for that team. They've done a good job getting out to Dynamics today, and we will see how they do here on the slalom. It's going to get a little bit of coaching for their driver. They don't have that team infrastructure to have all the tips and tricks to give to them. So they're getting a little bit of coaching down there from the staff at the start line to tell them how to enter it, which side of the cones to drive between, and what the goal is, and explain that it's not just time. They also need to demonstrate control of the vehicle, and importantly, not hit any cones. Back at the figure eight, Berkeley's taking another go at it, so if they get it this time, we will see them on the slalom next. Their driver's going for it real fast right away. Okay, we can see the Purdue car slowly coming forward through the course, so this is just going to be a familiarity run here at low speed, and they're going to go get back in line behind Waterloo and take a real attempt after this. So luckily for them right now, the line is short, so they get to do these practice runs. They don't have to worry too much that they're going to go through the practice run and they got to go wait in line for 10 minutes. So it's just a quick practice run, and they are going to go back and get in line behind just Waterloo. All right, that was another attempt from Waterloo, and it looks like Berkeley is going to be heading over, so we'll see them on the slalom here in just a moment. All right, there's another attempt from Waterloo. Maybe a little bit smoother than some of their previous attempts, so they're getting better as they go. And then it looks like Berkeley is going to make their way out now. If you heard some yelling, it's because they tried to make their way out while Waterloo was going. But now they're good to go, so here they go. Okay, now you can see Berkeley coming across. So they're going to get in line behind Waterloo, who is in line behind Purdue. So we got 3 teams out here running. We'll try to stay live here for another 15 minutes or so. And then we're going to have to call it a day. We got to go get ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow morning we will be live at 9:45. The start line will be at 10 a.m. tomorrow. So we will come to you at 9:45. Give you a rundown on the starting grid, and then you'll see the cars on the track at 10 a.m. So we will do our own live stream for the first little bit. I'm not sure exactly how long, but we'll definitely get a few laps, get you to see the cars from our camera angle, which we'll try to have set up fairly close to the track. And then from the timing building, the National Corvette Museum Motorsport Park here has 2 live streams of the front straight, one looking each direction, and that will be live all day, all 3 days of the event. So solar cars are on the track tomorrow from 10 to 6, and on Wednesday and Thursday from 9 to 5, you'll see them there. I'm not exactly sure what we see from Route 2 here. They don't seem to be slaloming. Perhaps they had some issue and had to abort the run. So it looks like they're going to loop back around and get in line. So we will see Waterloo, and hopefully we will get Castle in before we have to call it a day here. Some of our equipment is running a little bit low on battery. It's quite hot out here. It's not great for the battery life. Okay, here comes Waterloo, and Castle appears to be on deck.
If I film from here.
Don't cross this middle white line here. Don't cross it.
Yeah.
Don't cross the white line. Okay, we have Purdue back in line, so we got 3 cars out here in line. Western Michigan is still working on the figure 8, so I don't know if they'll quite make it today while we're streaming. All right, another attempt from Waterloo. Cal-Sol is getting their car closed up for their first attempt. So we will see either them or Purdue next, it looks like. If you've been hearing a faint horn in the background, that is University of Virginia car going through horn and light testing. So that is also happening out here. Solar cars are required to have lights and horns just like all cars. They have brake lights, turn signals, hazard lights, and this time for the first year they're required to have daytime running lights running for the entire event. So they're going through all of that testing. They have volume requirements for the horn and brightness requirements for the lights. Solar cars on the track are actually required to use their horns to indicate passing. Solar cars don't always have the best rear vision, so that's to help the drivers of the other cars know that there's a solar car passing them potentially fairly close at high speeds on the track. So just try to avoid the chance of collisions. Everyone's here to get their laps in as efficiently as possible, as quickly as possible, but it's not necessarily like a straight-on race because not all the cars are on the track for the entirety of the 24 hours. So it's really about just staying on there consistently and driving your laps rather than directly side-by-side racing somebody. So we asked solar cars to help facilitate passes as well while they're doing when they hear honking to avoid any sort of conflict. Nobody wants their car to get bumped up or have an issue on the track. Most of these teams are going on the track as a means to qualify through the American Solar Challenge, so they would very much like their car to survive FSGP in the best possible condition. Have MIT making their way back out to the Dynamics pad, so hopefully we will see them in line for scrutineering, slalom, or brake test at some point tonight. After the live stream goes down, we will try to get pictures of all the teams that we may have missed, so you can at least see their cars on these tests. Yeah, so here comes Waterloo again, and Purdue seems to have head back to the pit, so I'm not sure if they're having an issue with their car or their driver would like some more information about exactly how to do the slalom or what the requirements are. But it's their first driver, so they're still getting it figured out here. All right, there was Waterloo again. And it's like another fairly good run. I don't have the exact outcome, but it seems like you've seen their car sliding and you probably hear it squealing a little bit. So I think because of car performing that way, they want to make sure, 100% sure that all the drivers are fully in control. So they may be doing a few extra attempts here, especially given that we have the time to accommodate that right now because there's only a couple other teams out here. Okay, you may see in the very far distance the Calsol car crossing. It looks like they are getting lined up for instruction, as this is also their first attempt for the car and the first attempt with their very first driver. So they're getting some instruction on what exactly they're being watched for, and then they'll do a drive-through and then get in line for the real attempt. So hopefully we will get to their real attempt before we have to call it here. All right, here comes Berkeley. They started out as a slow drive-through, but they seem to be speeding up. So hopefully that means their driver's confident and ready to go, and we'll see them again in a second. Maybe they're trying to pass from a dead stop. So someone pointed out that didn't sound good at the end of Berkeley's run. For some reason, drivers from a number of teams here seem to come out of the slalom and immediately make an even harder turn than any of the slaloms to turn around. I will note that we did set up plenty of runoff space so they can make a nice, easy slow down straight and then turn around, but they didn't quite seem to get the memo to utilize that. So here we see Waterloo again. Looks like we've got someone from Berkeley over giving their driver a talk to, so I think we'll see them out here next, and hopefully this time they'll utilize our runoff space, like Waterloo just did. So you may be hearing a bit of drumming in the background. That's another team at the figure eight whose solution to the rubbing of their car during the figure eight is to, I guess, remove the piece of bodywork that the tire or wheel is rubbing on. So at this point at Dynamics, a lot of solutions are whatever gets us through fastest. All right, so here comes Berkeley. Here's our first at-speed attempt from Berkeley. Let's see. Taking it very wide, a lot of space. Just not doing themselves a lot of favors. The car seemed to handle it okay. And that time they slowed down at the end, and now they're turning around. So I think they're going to work a little bit on staying a little bit closer to the cone so they don't have to move so far laterally. But the car seemed to handle it okay. And here comes Waterloo. I think so maybe we'll get these two teams going in quick succession for a few minutes. Just checking how many more minutes we can actually go for. Okay, so this might be our last run here. We apologize if we go off a little bit abruptly, but we're going to try and get you another Calsol and Waterloo run here before we have to go. So for the remaining teams that get out here tonight, we will get you pictures as possible, videos as well. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. That's the best place to find that content. If you're looking for a lot of pictures, we are also uploading a huge library to Flickr periodically. So that's another place to look for pictures specifically. So be sure to watch there. I think there will probably be a few more teams out here tonight. We're going to keep this open until the sun sets, until it gets too dark. The sun's pretty much set at this point down behind the garages to our west. Tomorrow morning, join our 9:45 live stream. And there you saw why we have to end the live stream now. So we will see you tomorrow at 9:45 a.m. for the start of the Electrek Formula Sun Grand Prix 2024. Thank you for watching.